Hi, thanks for watching. Today I'd like to talk about a problem that's going around. You might have seen it in a number of discussions. It's become very popular lately, and it's the Monty Hall problem, the old three-door, make a selection. We're going to talk about that a little bit, and I want to give you a direct business application to the Monty Hall problem. So I hope you enjoy this, and I hope it improves your thinking and just makes you a better business person. So let's play a game. Remember Let's Make a Deal? It was a very popular show back in the 60s. Monty Hall gave away wild prizes and people came in costumes. It was a very fun show. Monty is still alive. He's in his 90s and he lives in Southern California as of the day I'm making this video in Beverly Hills. Great show. Fantastic. One of the most popular segments in the show was the three-door game. Monty would show three doors and the contestant is asked to select a door. Behind one of the doors is a cool prize. Usually it's something like a car. But behind the other two doors is a gag gift. Usually it was a farm animal, sometimes a goat or a chicken or a pig. So let's play the game and see how it plays out. So our contestant needs to choose a door. There are three doors. Behind one of these doors is a car, and behind two doors are gags. So our contestant picks door number 3. Now, Monty's a clever guy and he likes to make the game interesting, so he throws a little tease. Now, Monty says, tell you what, I'm going to show you what's behind one of the doors. And let's say he picks door number 1. Aha. So he shows behind door number 1 there's a pig. Now that leaves us with two doors. We have door number 2 and our original choice of door number 3. Monty then asks if we want to stick with our original choice or do we want to switch to door number 2. And what is it? What should we do? What's the thinking behind this? Now, most people will feel like, well, he's trying to induce me to change. He wants me to switch. So I think my original choice got to be right. But the right choice is not to stick with the door. And let's pursue this a bit. Our contestant needs to change doors when given the opportunity. Because behind door number 2, waha, is the car. Now, that's not always going to be the case, but most of the time, it will be the case. Now, you're thinking, okay, well, how can that be? Maybe you prefer to win a pig. I don't know. How can it be if we get down to 2 doors, we start out with 3, we pick one, he eliminates one, now there's 2 doors. So you would think the chance is 50-50, right? Well, let's start over and see why that's not the case. And let's look at why you're better off to change doors. And then most importantly, let's look at why this even matters and how it applies to business. So let's play the game again. Our contestant chose a door. He chose door number 3. Now, each door has a 1/3 chance of being the door with the car, right? Because there's 1/3 chance of door number 1, 1/3 of number 2, and 1/3 of door number 3. There's 3 doors. So we have a 1 out of 3 chance of being right. That doesn't change. If we eliminate door number 1, because Monty shows us there's a pig there, you're probably thinking, well, that means that now we have a 50-50 chance. Well, when we made the selection, we had a 1 out of 3 chance. So eliminating one of the doors doesn't change your original chance when the original choice was made. Now let's take this a little bit further. We have 1/3 chance for each door, right? The 2 doors we didn't choose are 2/3. We have 1/3 for door 1, 1/3 for door 2, which means there's a 2/3 chance that the prize is inside of that set, and our other door remains at a 1/3 chance. So even though we eliminate one of the doors, there is still a 2/3 chance that the car is inside of that box. Now, we know it's not the other door because that door has been eliminated, but there's still a 2/3 chance that the car is in that box. That doesn't change because we reveal one of the boxes. We had 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. If we could pick 2 boxes, we would have a 2 out of 3 chance of winning, right? So the 2 boxes we don't pick have a 2 out of 3 chance of winning. Even if you eliminate one of the doors, inside of that box, there's still a 2 out of 3 chance of winning. So you're better off to change doors because you go from a 1 out of 3 chance of winning to a 2 out of 3 chance of winning by changing doors. That's a big jump. That's not just a little bit in your favor. That's a big jump in your favor. Now, even though I just explained that, most people still struggle even after seeing the explanation. You might be still wrestling with it yourself. So I want to discuss this a little bit further and then give you a good business application of why this harms our business thinking. It'll help you make better choices in the future. So consider this. What if there are 100 doors instead of 3? What if there are 100? We can always get down to 2 doors, right? No matter which door we choose, Monty can always show all the other doors but 2. The one we chose and one other door. And one of those doors has to have the car. Otherwise, it'd be a pointless game, right? So since he's choosing the doors to eliminate. So if we start with 1,000 doors, we can always get down to 2. If we start with 1,000,000 doors, we can always get down to 2. But we have 100 doors, and we have to choose one. So we pick a door. We choose that door. Now, Monty can start eliminating doors, and he eliminates a whole bunch of doors. He shows us all these pigs, and then we get down to our door and the last remaining door. Now, should we change? Now, surprisingly, most people will say no. Gosh, look, he's eliminated all those doors, and my door's still in it. Well, of course your door's still in it. He's not going to show you your door, right? So your door is not still in the running. It's your choice. It's 1 in 100 that you pick the right door. You have a 1 in 100 chance of being right at the beginning. Now you know that one of those 2 doors has to be the car. If your choice is 1 in 100, what do you think the chances are that the last remaining door has the car? I think it's a lot better than 1 in 100. It's certainly not a 50-50 chance. And that's what people think when they have the 3 doors and you get down to 2. They say, well, it's 50-50. It's a coin toss. Well, is it a coin toss now? The door you originally chose versus this door. Now, some people are going to say, yeah, I could have picked the right door and that's it. Okay, well, if that's true, if we never changed doors, if we played this game 100 times and you had 100 doors to pick from, and you chose a door, and we played this game out 100 times, you would win 50% of the time. So that means out of 100 doors, you choose one door, and you would be right half the time. Does that make sense? I don't think so. So what? It's just a game, right? Or is it? See, we often stick with business decisions that we made when we had less information. We decide we're going to do an advertising campaign, and we make this big postcard and we put it together and we send out 500 postcards and we don't get any response. And so we call around some people and they say, yeah, I got the postcard, but it just didn't turn me on. Well, we have 10,000 of these things printed up. Might as well send them out, right? Well, why? Now you have the added cost of time and postage, and the cards don't work. So we've had new information come in as the game progressed, and yet we tend to keep doing what we're doing. We stay with the original plan. Governments do this all the time. They'll stay the course, even though there's growing evidence that the course is wrong. We're going to stay the course. You hear that expression come from government leaders all the time. We see examples of this every day. So the question is, why do we do this? Well, there's a number of reasons why we do it. We, first of all, that's not listed here, is we're not very good at estimating odds. We don't think through that very well. Things that seem extraordinarily coincidental are actually rather likely, and things that seem very likely. If we send 1,000 postcards, certainly I'm going to get 10 phone calls. Out of 1,000, 10 people will call. That seems very likely. But that's actually very remote. Your chance of getting a call on 1,000 postcards is virtually zero. It's less than 0.5%. And that's if your piece is well designed. If it's not well designed, you're probably not going to hear from anybody. So we're not very good. That should be number zero. The first thing is we're not very good at estimating odds. Second, we don't like to admit our mistakes. When we're wrong, we don't like to just say, we're wrong, let's change course. We tend to cling to sunk costs. The postcard example, we send out 1,000 postcards, we don't get any response, we printed up 10,000 of them, we might as well send them out. Well, why? If 1,000 don't work, 9,000 more aren't going to do anything for you. You're just wasting more money. You're spending more postage. In fact, the postage is probably a higher cost than the postcard. Even that's not often considered, just that $5,000 bill that was generated to print up all those postcards. Now you've got to print labels, postage, you've got to put the stamps on, you're going to have labor, and you're going to send them out, and then nothing's going to happen. So you're going to waste more money, because what are we going to do with these 9,000 postcards? Well, it's simple. They don't work. You throw them away. You have to separate yourself from sunk costs. It's a mistake we often make. Another mistake we make is our judgment gets clouded by being goal focused. I hear all the time that it's great to be goal focused. We need to be goal focused. Well, it's okay to be goal focused, but it's also okay to adjust the goal, abandon the goal, realize when the goal becomes impractical, skip it. There was a disaster on Mount Everest in 1996, which is why I show this little picture. There's 8 people died in one day. They left late. There were too many people headed for the summit. There was kind of a traffic jam, if you will, on the way up. You have to go up by rope. People were sharing the rope. It took longer. There's a turnaround time. If you don't get to the summit by 2 o'clock, you can't get back in time to avoid the winds and the dark and survive, basically. And so if you reach the summit by noon, you have plenty of time to get back. If you reach it by 1:30, you can make it back. If you get there by 2, you got to turn around immediately and leave. If you're 1 minute after 2, your chances of making it back go down rapidly. 2 o'clock is the, pardon the expression, drop dead time to leave. There were people arriving on the summit at 4 o'clock. Get up there, look around, it's still light. 4 o'clock, they didn't turn around on the way up. They didn't turn around and go back because they had spent months preparing, months training, and they could see the summit. We're only an hour out. We're only an hour and a half out. We got to press on. And so they arrived too late to make it back, and 8 people died in one day. So it can be costly and deadly to cling to choices that we make when our information is imperfect. And whenever we make an initial decision, whenever we start a new course, a new program, new marketing, hire a new person, whatever it may be, any new thing we begin in business, we always start with imperfect information, always. And I love this quote. In many cases, business failures, such as the Millennium Dome in London and cost overruns at the Denver International Airport, can be blamed on basic foibles of human decision makers, such as the tendency to overestimate one's capabilities. Remember, we're poor at estimating odds, and the strong desire to recoup sunk costs. That pile of postcards in the back room that don't work, we got to use them. We paid to print them, we got to use them. Why? So that's why we more often end up instead of. So let's summarize. First of all, we're generally not very good at predicting success odds. Our information at the onset of any new venture, new program in business, a new business itself, a marketing program, anything we do initially, our information is always imperfect. Imperfect means there may be some information missing or something is inaccurate, but our information is not perfect. However, we also tend to stay the course longer than we should. Even though we have improved data coming in, we still tend to stay the course. We don't like to admit mistakes. We printed up those postcards. We said, you know what, if we get 3 calls out of every 100, let me see, that's 100,000, that's 30 per 1,000 times 10,000. We're going to get 300 calls. If we convert half of those, that's 150 big sales. We're going to make a killing on this thing. We can't go wrong. And with those kind of numbers out of 10,000, we're certainly going to get, and after the first 1,000, we don't get anything. It's very difficult for us, in spite of having improved data and more perfect information. We don't like to admit the mistake and say, look, the other 9,000 duds, throw them out. And we often fall to the bravado of a goal. My God, we said we were going to sell 50 new deals and make $20 million off this postcard venture. We're going to do it no matter what. So everybody get behind it. Let's get those postcards out there. Make your phone calls and let's deliver. And we stay with it behind either faulty leadership or, as I say here, just the bravado of a goal. We set the goal. We're going to make the goal. Full steam ahead, stay the course. So what do we do? Well, education. You just watch this. It makes you smarter. So you now have more knowledge than a lot of people have. Share it. Encourage independent thinking. When we say, let's print 10,000 postcards, generate new business, out of 10,000 we should get 50 new sales. That'll generate 50 sales at $1,000 a piece. That's going to generate $50,000 in sales. Anybody see a problem with that? Encourage independent thinking. Admit mistakes, learn from new information, and adapt. The other thing you can do is host a presentation. I'd be happy to come to your business and do a little seminar on this kind of thinking or some other topic about maybe entropy in your business. But we need to improve our thinking. We're leaving too much money on the table, and we're losing too much to competition, and we're wasting too much money. All could be improved by just improving our thinking. So get in touch. Let's get together. Thanks.